So I felt so stupid on my live yesterday. So as soon as I got off the live, I reached out to my team and I was like, you guys, I talk about this stuff all the time. Like, I don't understand why this is so hard. Why this time? Why whatever God is stirring in me? Why is it so hard? And I'm like, I talk about this. People talk about this all the time. You can go online and find all kinds of what I just said yesterday. And why was it that I was all, um, and so this morning I woke up to God whispering in my ear, and he's like, hey, Lori, when you had those people respond to you the way they were responding to you, um, this was personal to you. And here you are sharing your heart. And they rejected you. They told you you're wrong. They told you you're crazy. They told you you were demonic. They told you all the things, right? And that was about you. And since then, it's interesting, you guys, because I have slowly, well, I don't even know if it was slowly. I think after that, it was just like okay, I'm just going to teach these concepts. I'm going to teach the concepts that God is showing me. And that is why I think slowly and over time, my ability to have joy started to decrease because so this morning what I realized was that if I could turn what God was teaching me into concepts, then they could reject the concepts and it didn't hurt. But if this was my story and this is what God was doing in me, and I opened my heart and shared that, well, then they could reject me. And it was really interesting because as I was having that dialogue with the Lord this morning, he goes, hey, Lori, they can reject you all they want. You can never be rejected. And it was like, oh, that's it. That's it. Right? And when I know that, so more of the story. So about a year after I had the experience that I talked about yesterday with this energy woman, and through that next year, I had, like I said, there was classes and books, and I was just absorbing everything. And there was this one particular modality that, if you did certain things, you could be a facilitator of this modality. And I was like, heck yeah, because that's who I am. I'm an overachiever. And, if you can take sessions or you can be a facilitator and give sessions or like teach sessions, teach people to do sessions, then that's what I want to do. So I became a facilitator and somebody reached out and said, hey, I have this group of people. We want to learn this modality. Can you come and teach us? And I said, absolutely. So I show up to teach them. Now you guys remember, I'm 1 year into energy work, right? And so I go around the room and I'm like, okay, well, everybody tell me, like, what's your experience with the energies? So I know, like, do I have to start with the foundation? Like, what I need to do in order to get to a point where I teach you this class. And the first person says, oh, I've been doing energy work, right? Performing energy work on other people for 2 years, blah, 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 but I've been getting energy sessions for years. And the next person is like, well, 10 years ago I died. I went to the other side. I came back and now I can see people, dead people. I was like, oh. And then the next person's like, well, I've been teaching energy work for 20 years. It's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. I'm like, and with every person that went down the line, because there was like 9 people in the room or something, with every person that went down the line, there was all of these huge, like, oh, I teach this. Oh, I do these sessions. Oh, I've been doing this for X amount of years. Okay. Here I am teaching the class, and I only learned about energy work 1 year ago. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, Lord, what have you done? Like, why have you put me in this position? He said, hey, Lori, Just show up and do what you showed up to do. I was like, okay. So throughout the class, there was some explanation, right? So first I would set up what we would do in the modality, and then we were practicing the modality. And so as I was going over, I misspoke a couple of times in my reading, and this one particular person interrupted me, and she's like, that's not the word and that means this. And I was like, okay, cool, yeah, I understand what you're saying, and it's really the intention behind it. And then later on in the teaching, I go, I just feel like I have to stop because I feel like there's somebody really resistant to this situation, and so I'd like to clear that energy. And so it was the same woman, and I pointed out, I said, I just feel like you have this resistance to learning this. And she's like, no, I don't. I've been learning all kinds of this. And I'm like, oh, wait, you're right. It's a resistance to learning it from me. And she was like, well, I just, I don't know about you. And I can't remember what she said, but basically it was like, yeah, basically, I don't want to learn this from you. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, can we clear that? So we cleared some energy. And then throughout the day, there was just some resistance from her. And then when we went to practice sessions, and basically what we do is one person gives and one person receives, and then everybody switches. So everyone has the opportunity to give and receive in the class. Well, we were an odd number, which meant that I needed to give because somebody had come in to receive and then left. And then I needed to give to make sure that everybody gave and received. And I just had this, amazing experience. And the woman who facilitated it, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're spot on!" Like this, because I was basically explaining what I was seeing throughout this session. And she's like, "You're spot on," and this guy's super powerful, and the way that you're stating it is just spot on to what he needs to hear. And he had this huge revelation. I was like, wow, that's amazing. That's so great. And I say all of this to get to the end of the story, because here's the end of the story. At the very end, when everybody's packing up, the very first woman who came up to me to say thank you was the woman that was so resistant in the beginning. And she was just like, this was a class like I've never experienced before. I'm just super grateful. Thank you so much for all your patience. This was amazing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my pleasure. Yes, you're welcome. And then the teacher, after everyone started filtering out, the teacher, the one who facilitated this whole experience, came up to me and she said, and this was the woman who had been teaching energy work for 20 years and been doing it for as long as she could remember. And she came up to me and she said, I've been in this world for a long time. She said, and you carry something I've never seen before. And I was like, whoa, what? That's so cool. And I'm like, well, do you want to know what it is? Because in my mind, she noticed something different about me, right? So I said, do you want to know what it is? And she goes, yes. And the fact that I had an answer for her, it was like she lit up, because I think she was telling me that just to make a statement like, wow, you carry something I've never seen before. And I looked at her and I said, it's Jesus. It's Jesus. And I realized this experience with shutting down my heart started to shut down, right? Because I just wanted to teach these principles so that, my heart wasn't rejected. And I realized I shut off Jesus. Now, am I saying that nobody has felt Jesus around me? No. I think that Jesus is going to get through no matter what I do. But truly, what was available for me to overflow outside of me was limited because of my having to protect my heart and my guarding myself from being rejected. And so when I think about, what's the difference between energy work that some may call demonic and Jesus? Because everything I do is in the Bible, you guys. Everything I've done, everything I talk about, it's all in the Bible. So what makes the difference? Well, let's look at some ancient wisdom. Star Wars. It's called the Force. The power of God, because God is the all in all, the power of God is available to everyone. I can do energy work apart from the embodiment of Christ in me because that's the power of God. Anybody can use it. But when we embody our identity, Christ as us, now it's a different aroma. And that's what she noticed in me, and that's what I've shut down over time to protect my heart. And that is what God is trying to release in me. And guys, is it going to bless a lot of people? Yeah, because that's how God works. But it's about me, right? The joy that I get to experience, the joy that you get to experience when you embody the identity of Christ as you, right? I'm crucified with Christ. I no longer live, but it is Christ that lives in me. It's life, and life more abundant, right? When we're doing energy work, it's like a cell phone. We plug in our battery or we plug in our phone, and it makes more energy in our phone. And then we unplug it and we use our phone and we use our phone and we use our phone, right? And it depletes the energy of the phone. When we're plugged into our identity, Christ in us, it's a regenerating energy. Regenerating. And that's what she saw. Christ in me. So that's today's live. I love you guys. Have a great day.